This is a glossary of veterinary terms. Choose a term to go to the definition page. Once you've reached that page, click on the text to hear the definition. If you need help, choose the Help button. Veterinarian. A person who practices the detection, prevention, and treatment of animal illnesses. Venom. The poison of an animal, such as a snake, spider, or scorpion, usually transmitted by a bite or sting. A medication administered by a veterinarian that assists an animal in resisting certain diseases. Vaccination. Threatened species. Animals whose numbers have dropped so low they may become endangered. Territory. An area occupied by a single animal, mating pair, or group that is defended from intruders. Spines. Pointed projections, processes, or appendages of animals and plants. Species. A basic category of animal or plant capable of breeding only with others of its kind. Scavenger. An animal that feeds on dead or decaying matter. Rodent. A gnawing or nibbling mammal such as a mouse or rat, characterized by continually growing incisors. An air-breathing vertebrate such as a snake or turtle, characterized by a bony skeleton and a covering of dry scales or horny plates. Reptile. Prey. An animal hunted by another animal for food. Predator. An animal that hunts, kills, and eats other animals. Population. A group of plants or animals living in a particular area. Poaching. Unlawful hunting, fishing, or collecting. Organism. An individual life form. Omnivore. An animal that eats all foods, plants, and flesh. Nocturnal. Active at night. Neuter. To remove surgically an animal's sex organs. Mammal. Warm-blooded vertebrate animals characterized by a covering of hair on the skin. Female mammals produce milk for nourishing their young. Invertebrate. An animal such as an insect or a mollusk that lacks a backbone or spinal column. A vertebrate is an animal with a backbone. Herbivore. An animal that feeds on plants. Habitat. The natural environment of a plant or animal. Grooming. To clean and brush. Forest. A large tract of land covered with trees and underbrush. Farm. A tract of land where crops or animals are raised. Extinct. No longer existing or living. Environment. The habitat surrounding an organism or a group of organisms. Endangered. Faced with the danger of extinction. Embryo. An organism in its early stages of development. Diagnosis. To determine health or sickness through medical examination. Desert. A dry, often sandy region of little rainfall, extreme temperatures, and very little plant life. Deforestation. To cut down and clear away trees or forests. Conservation. Using habitats, resources, animals, and plants wisely in order to save them for future generations. Carnivore. A flesh-eating animal. Camouflage. To conceal by the use of disguise or by protective coloring which blends in with the surrounding environment. Burrow. A hole or tunnel dug in the ground by a small animal, such as a rabbit or a mole. Breeding. To produce offspring, give birth to or hatch. Bird. A warm-blooded, egg-laying, feathered vertebrate with wings. Armor. A tough protective covering, such as the bony scales covering certain animals. Adaptation. A change in form or action which allows an organism to be more successful in its environment.
Use the map to help Dr. Max find the sick animals. Or stay here and take a look around at the fun and interesting things in Dr. Max's office. If you have to...
There are many ways you can start preparing to become an animal doctor right now. Visit your local zoos and animal parks and see all the different kinds of animals and study their habitats. If you have a pet, meet your veterinarian at your pet's next checkup. Ask questions and get their advice on how to learn more about animal care. In school, it is very important to do well in general science, biology, math, and English. Education, strong study habits, and a desire to help animals are very important if you want to become an animal doctor when you grow up. Sorry, you've got to earn this certificate first. NASA named Dr. Martin Fettman the first veterinarian to fly in space. He flew on the space shuttle in October 1993 in order to perform gravity experiments using laboratory rats. Dr. Daniel E. Salmon is the first person in U.S. history to receive a DVM from Cornell University. He went on to discover Salmonella, a disease-causing germ that is named after him. Dr. Patricia Olson is the first female veterinarian to qualify as a reproductive specialist in the United States. Currently, she is the Director of Veterinary Affairs for the American Humane Society. At the age of 28, Dr. Augustus Lushington graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, becoming the first African-American veterinary school graduate in the world. The year was 1897. Dr. Ahmed Tiberi, Scientific Director at the Veterinary Research Center in Abu Dhabi. The primary focus of this research is artificial breeding and reproduction of valuable racing camels. In 1990, Dr. Debbie Turner was crowned Miss America. She received her DVM in 1991. Dr. Turner currently divides her time between veterinary public relations and motivational speaking. Dr. Shirley Johnston is a leader in veterinary education. She has trained more than 10,000 vets in 11 countries. Currently, she is head of the Clinics and Veterinary Teaching Hospital at Washington State University.
After you've helped an animal, it will send you a postcard. When you get a new postcard, just click on it to read it. If you need help, choose the Help button.
Welcome to Endangered Species. All of the species in this chart are, have been, or could easily become endangered. A species that is endangered has an immediate possibility of becoming extinct. When a species becomes extinct, that means there are no more of that type of creature in existence. Take a look at the world map and select an area to see what kinds of endangered species live there. When you see the endangered species in that region, select one to hear more about it. To learn how you can help, choose the How Can I Help button. If you need help, use the Help button. Canada, Canada, and Alaska. Polar bears live in the Arctic islands, coasts, and ice flows. Poaching, pollution, and the trespassing of humans in their habitat threatens the polar bear population. Western Canada. Western Canada. Whooping crane. Once very close to extinction, the whooping crane is making a comeback. In 1937, only 2 breeding populations remained. Today, there are nearly 300 whooping cranes in the wild and in captivity. These cranes range in marshy areas between Illinois and southern Canada, but as Americans moved west, much of the crane's habitat was changed into pasture and farming lands. Burrowing owl. In the late 1970s, there were about 2,100 breeding pairs of burrowing owls left in Canada. By 1987, their population had dropped in half. After continued decline, the species was classified as endangered. Farming and development have significantly reduced the owl's habitat. Burrowing owls need open areas with low ground covers, existing burrows, and a lot of food, all of which are threatened on the prairies. United States. The major threat to the American black bear is poaching to supply Asian markets with bear gallbladders and paws, considered to have medicinal value in China, Japan, and Korea. The bald eagle is endangered due to habitat destruction, illegal shooting, and contaminated food sources. The bald eagle's population varies throughout the United States, except for Hawaii, where the species is not known to exist. The gray wolf is endangered due to habitat destruction and food source pollution. In 1965, ranchers and government agencies, in an attempt to protect livestock, left poisoned carcasses out for wolves to eat. Unfortunately, this also killed eagles, ravens, foxes, bears, and other animals, which also fed on the contaminated food. Wolf populations are expected to recover by the year 2002 due to the Fish and Wildlife Service's plan to reintroduce wolves to the Yellowstone and U.S. Forest Service lands in central Idaho. California. Condors eat the carcasses of dead animals, and this can cause problems in the modern world. The animals they eat may have been killed by hunters using lead shots, which can poison the birds, or they may eat poisoned meat left out to kill coyotes. Pesticides make the condor's eggshells so thin that their young typically die before they hatch. There are about 40 California condors that have been bred in captivity. The problem is finding a suitable place to release them into the wild again. In the 1700s, sea otters ranged from Baja California up to Alaska and all the way over to Russia. But in the early 1800s, the sea otter was hunted to near extinction because of their luxuriant fur. Small groups managed to hang on in isolated areas of their range. In 1938, a raft of 300 sea otters was unexpectedly discovered along the Big Sur coast. In 1977, the California sea otter was named a subspecies and placed on the endangered species list. Since that time, the population of sea otters in California has grown to about 2,200. Mojave Desert. Desert tortoises dwell in the Mojave Desert and have for thousands of years. The rapid growth of the Las Vegas Valley is destroying the desert tortoise's habitat. Bulldozers and backhoes tear at the tortoise's homeland. This loss of habitat has taken a toll on their population, which has declined as much as 90% in some areas. The Fish and Wildlife Service, as well as the Desert Conservation Plan, are taking serious actions to protect the habitat of the desert tortoise. Illinois. The river otter competes with man and other animals for fish. The otter has been classified as endangered in the state of Illinois due to decline of clear water habitat. Many waterways have been canalized to facilitate river traffic, and otters require a gradually sloping riverbank. This, along with hunting, has contributed to the species' decline. Central America. The jaguar is making a successful return from near extinction, but the animal is still endangered. Threats to the jaguar are illegal hunting for fur trading and habitat loss. South America. This anteater belongs to the edentates group, which means toothless ones. The anteater uses its tongue to eat ants and termites. However, termite nests are getting rarer as grasslands are given over to cattle, and this is reducing the anteater's food supply. The spectacled bear is not currently listed as endangered, but is protected from commercial trade by international law. Its numbers in the wild are depleted by hunting and loss of habitat. Increased human populations, agriculture, and road building have contributed to this species' decline in the wild. The spectacled bear is the only bear known in South America. Northern Europe. Wolverines are very tough for their size. They prey on animals that are almost 2 times larger than they are, like deer. The wolverine population is endangered due to hunting for their fur. Now that wolverine fur is considered less valuable, The hunting has decreased, their status is much less endangered, and their numbers are increasing. Russia. Russia. The European bison was hunted to the point of extinction in the wild. A few bison remained in zoos. Several years later, 6 European bison were set free in Poland. They bred successfully, and now there are more than 250 European bison in the wild again. Western Europe. Wildcat. The wildcat was vigorously hunted in an attempt to protect the game birds it preys upon. Wildcat favorites are grouse and partridges. Wildlife conservation acts have helped limit wildcat hunting, and as a result, their population has increased in numbers. The pardo lynx lives in the wetlands of the Pyrenees Mountains. It preys on game birds, young deer, and rabbits. In the 1950s and 60s, a disease killed off thousands of rabbits. This had a terrible effect on the pardo lynx's population because rabbits are the lynx's main food supply. Hunting further affected the pardo lynx population. Currently, the lynx is surviving only where it's protected. Mediterranean loggerhead turtle. The loggerhead turtle lives in the Mediterranean Sea. Their population is suffering because hotels and tourists have taken over the beaches on which they lay their eggs. In an effort to save the loggerhead turtle, many people have joined together to convert some Mediterranean beaches into turtle sanctuaries. China. The giant panda has become the international symbol of wildlife conservation by the World Wildlife Fund. As the population of China continues to grow, land is cleared for food and home production. The panda relies almost solely on about 20 varieties of bamboo for food. The production of food sources and homes have made it difficult for them to find bamboo. The panda does not appear to be able to adapt its diet to the loss of bamboo, and therefore dies off. India. Because the lion is a predator, it eats livestock and sometimes people. Fear of these events has caused the killing of many Asiatic lions, even on reserves. The tiger is endangered due to illegal killing or poaching and loss of habitat. Tigers have been legally protected in all countries of their range except Burma. Currently, tigers are poached mainly for their bones and body parts. Tiger bones are used by Chinese in a variety of medicinal products. The snow leopard's range is the mountainous forests of western China, Tibet, Afghanistan, and the Soviet Union. This species is listed as endangered, and commercial trade of the snow leopard is prohibited by international law. Poaching has declined in recent years, but in the less rugged areas of the snow leopard's range, they are being killed by hunters or forced out by livestock. Southeast Asia. China. Southeast Asia. Malay. Tapirs are an ancient group of animals related to both the horse and the rhinoceros. They have a long snout which they can use to feed on different plants. The tapir is hunted for sport, food, and its skin. Its habitat is also being destroyed by development. The Komodo dragon is the world's largest lizard. It can grow up to about 10.5 feet. Because the dragons often try to eat villagers' livestock and have eaten people, local villagers try to kill them. There are about 5,000 dragons alive today. India. Zaire. The white-cheeked gibbon is a tree dweller of the tropical rainforest. All gibbons are classified as endangered, but the white-cheeked gibbon is the most endangered. Habitat changes, logging, and military activities have impacted the habitats that support gibbons. This dark-colored striped animal is the giraffe's only living relative. Its shorter neck and legs keep a low, well-camouflaged profile as it hunts for food on the rainforest floor. The okapi's survival depends on the survival of the rainforest. Okapi. Mountain gorilla. Poaching and deforestation has caused the mountain gorilla to become endangered. Mountain gorillas live in Rwanda, Uganda, and Zaire in Africa. There are only about 500 mountain gorillas left in the wild. Central and Southern Africa. Central and Southern Africa. The black rhinoceros population has dropped from 70,000 in 1970 to 3,000 in 1992. The black rhino is threatened by poaching, loss of habitat, and low reproduction rates. Poachers kill rhinos for their horns, which are used in several medicines of the Far East. There are about 5,000 to 15,000 cheetahs left in the world. Cheetahs are endangered because of fur trading, habitat loss, or an effort by farmers to protect their domesticated animals. The only remaining natural habitats for cheetahs are found in Africa, south of the Sahara Desert. The serval roams most of the African savannas and woodlands. The Barbary serval is listed as endangered, and commercial trade is prohibited by international law. The serval is hunted for its fur and for its tendency to prey on domesticated fowl. The African elephant is endangered due to poaching. Poachers kill elephants for their valuable tusks. About 600,000 elephants exist in the wild today, but there were more than twice that in 1980. Southeast, the Sumatran and Borneo rainforest. Dwellers of the tropical forest, orangutans spend most of their time in the trees. Deforestation of the Sumatran and Borneo rainforests for agriculture and timber are primary reasons for the orangutan's endangered status. Australia. Wombats are closely related to the koala, but burrow rather than tree dwell. The wombat is often considered a pest because when it burrows, it sometimes knocks over fences built to keep rabbits out of grazing lands. There are only about 60 hairy-nosed wombats left in Australia. Although hunting koalas is currently outlawed, deforestation is removing habitat and food sources for this animal. Research is currently underway concerning the diseases that plague koalas in the wild. If breeding and research programs continue, and hunting laws continue to be enforced, the koala should stay clear of the endangered species list. Koalas live in Australia and can be found in eucalyptus forests and woodlands. Southeast.
There are many ways you can help endangered species and their habitats starting right now, mate. Choose a button to hear how you can make a difference. Fresh water is a limited resource. There are easy ways to conserve water. Taking showers instead of baths is one way. While brushing your teeth, turn off the water until you're ready to rinse your mouth. That saves 2 gallons of water right there. Water-saving toilets and low-volume shower heads also save large amounts of this precious resource. There are many ways to keep yourself informed of current environmental issues. Several newsletters and journals are available. Speak to your local librarian for more information on how to find them. When you find an environmental issue that you feel strongly about, write to your local, state and federal representatives to ask for their support in protecting endangered wildlife and their habitats. All trash needs a place to go. Once it leaves your home, it may go into the earth, or it could be sent out to sea. Always buy biodegradable products because they disintegrate over time. Limit your use of paper products, mate. Think of all the trash that comes from napkins, tissues, paper towels, paper plates and cups. You can make a difference by avoiding these paper products and using cloth napkins and handkerchiefs, sponges instead of paper towels, and reusable plates and cups. All trash needs a place to go. Pollution contaminates water and soil, making it unfit for wildlife. Cars are a major source of pollution, which causes acid rain. Carpooling, bicycle riding, and taking public transportation are ways you can help limit pollution. Also, be sure to avoid aerosols, toxic lawn chemicals, and any products that have a negative effect on the ozone layer. Do you know Americans spend $20 billion a year on wildlife products? It's true. Some examples of these products are fur coats, items made of ivory, bearskin rugs, and exotic pets. All of these are luxury items. No one needs a bearskin rug or a macaw, and yet wild animals must die in order to supply these products. By not purchasing wild animal products and talking to your friends about the harm that comes from owning these products, you can save the lives of elephants, bears, and many other wild animals. Did you know that logging removes about 12,000 square miles of forest every year? In Africa, for every 29 trees cut down, only one is planted. Cutting down trees is terrible for the earth because trees consume carbon dioxide. And think of all the homeless animals. If we continue to kill off trees without replanting new ones, the pollution in the Earth's atmosphere will trap in the sun's heat and cause global warming. This process is called the greenhouse effect. To help, look for people and organizations in your community that are already involved in saving the rainforests and see how you can help. Recycling is very important, mate. Not only does it limit the number of cans and bottles left as litter, it allows us to use the same aluminum, glass and paper again and again. A soda can, recycled today, could be aluminum foil in a few weeks instead of just trash. By recycling paper, you'll save trees. Today's recycled newspaper could be used to make the pages of a book. With a little effort on your part, you can help save our forests. Cloud9 website.